بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. This is Riad Ouarzazi. Welcome you all to Homemade Happiness, episode number 16. Assalamu alaikum. So I'll just give a minute or two for more people to join, inshallah. And saying salam to those who have already joined. Sister Yasmin, wa alaikum salam, and Faisal, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Ahlan wa marhaba. يا هلا ومرحبا. عليكم السلام. أهلا شازية. Always do guys on top ما شاء الله. أهلا وعليكم السلام. أهلا ومرحبا. منزه أهلا. We got Facebook and we got Instagram going live. And today is episode number 16 of Homemade Happiness. Still talking about watering the love. Yeah, hello, marhaba. So again, I'll just give a minute maybe or two, give a chance more people to join. Alrighty? Just giving a chance for more people to join. If you just joined, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Homemade Happiness, episode number 16, watering the love. Love, watering the love. So this is part number 4 actually. So 4 episodes just talking about watering the love, between husbands and wives or prospects. Don't have to necessarily be married. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ya hello, marhaba. Wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan, 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 ahlan. Ahlan Muhammad. Ahlan Nora. Wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan Hanifa. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Because I've got Instagram and I've got Facebook all going live at the same time. On YouTube as well. Anyways, I want to start, but people are slowly starting to sign in and join in our sessions. So I just want to give them, a minute. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Hala Mariana Muhammad. Wa alaikum assalam. Hope you guys are doing great. Today is a very, very hot day, subhanallah. Today is a very hot day. Wa alaikum assalam. Ya hello, marhaba. Today is like sunny, hot, humid. At least here in Toronto Bay Area, Toronto area. Yes, still Nora. If you have not, if you missed out in all the sessions, it's Homemade Happiness. Today is episode number 16. So 16 lessons so far, right? And 4 lessons are talking about watering the love. Watering the love. So if you missed out, please go back and watch it, because it's an amazing series. It covers all the members of the families, right? We've been talking to girls and boys, daughters and sons and husbands and wives, dads and moms. We'll be talking to everyone in this series. So please, if you have missed them out, go back and watch them. They all are recorded on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Oh, then move into Toronto, Sister Yasmin. Come to Toronto. It's beautiful here. Yeah, we have the AC on. Yeah, you have to have the AC on. All right, let's start, inshallah. Let's start. Bismillah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. One more time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Riad Ouarzazi. Welcoming all of you to our Homemade Happiness series. Today is session number 16. MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. 16 lessons so far. And today's session is, again, one more time, watering the love. Water the love. And it's part number 4. So 3 sessions, all previous sessions, all talking about husbands and wives. And part number 4 today, of watering the love. I hope to finish off with watering the love, so that we can move on to another episode, inshallah ta'ala, talking to the youth, right? So I want to finish, inshallah ta'ala, off all the series about watering the love. Yesterday we talked about the signs of loyalty, right? Yesterday we talked about loyalty, the importance of loyalty. As I mentioned, it's this very rare currency, and I gave examples about how the Prophet Muhammad was loyal, and and not only Prophet Muhammad, of course, our qudwa, our role model, but how one should be loyal to their loved ones. And then we talked about the signs of loyalty, right? That you should defend your, and support your spouse regardless. You should always talk good about them and defend them. You should, keep the tie and uphold the tie of kinship with your loved ones, right? With your husband and with your wife. Their families, you should uphold that ties of kinship with them. And then also making dua for one another is another sign of loyalty. Anyways, my brothers and sisters, also I mentioned something yesterday, and this is all about watering the love, right? How to water the love, how to energize that love between husbands and wives, or in general between any loved ones. Not necessarily don't have to be married, as I said, to benefit from my sessions, even those who are planning, inshallah ta'ala, to get married, or with your loved ones in general. How, should we look to one another with not the eye of reality, but the eye of rahmah, the eye of mercy. And I explained that a lot yesterday, and what that means, right? And Allah Azza wa Jalla, when He mentions in the ayah, وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ, and do not forget the good between you. There was so much good, you've been living with one another, let's say for, Allahu A'lam, some, mashallah, been married for years, so do not forget the good between you. And also the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, beautiful hadith, that when he said that a Muslim man should not hate, should not detest a believing woman, yani his spouse, if he sees or if he detests one of her characteristics which he does not like, there will be something else that which he would like. So he should not hate her, or hate not her as a person, but her actions, because if he hates something, that she would have something else that he would like. So there's always that balance. And the Prophet Muhammad, as if he's telling us here, don't always look for negative stuff, but look for positives. And subhanAllah, shaitan is really smart. Shaitan makes people look into these negatives after marriage. Why? Because shaitan has made this oath. He has made this oath, and that oath is, and hadith is in Bukhari, by the way. Hadith is in Bukhari. It's a very sound hadith. The shayateen, every day they have like a progress report. They meet with the big shaitan, right? So there's so many shayateen, the small shayateen, they meet with the big shaitan, and then they do like a progress report. They tell him what they have done for that day, right? They report to him what they have done for that day. So the shaitan comes and he says, I made this man commit adultery. I made this man drink alcohol. I made this woman remove hijab. I did this, I did that, I did this. So they just report what they have done for the day, to the big shaitan. And then one of the shayateen says, I made a man divorce his wife. I made a man divorce his wife. He tells him, Ant, you, Ant, come. And he gets him to sit next to him, because that's the most beloved shaitan to the big shaitan. The most beloved shaitan to the big shaitan is the one that gets to have a man divorce a woman, or to separate between a man and a woman. And this is what the shaitan wants. He wants, subhanallah, to separate with one another and to cause, subhanallah, frictions with one another. This is his job. That's what he wants. Before marriage, he did not make you look into the negatives. Even the negatives, even if you were to see them, you always have found ways to offset them, right? But after marriage, he wants talaq. He wants to use that talaq. He wants to separate between you two. So he makes even something that is minor, he makes it look like something really major, and then start whispering about talaq. So look at one another with the eye of rahmah, with the eye of mercy, versus the eye of the eye of the bee. Remember yesterday I said the eye of the bee versus the eye of the fly. And then I mentioned something yesterday with regard to improving, and watering the love. I said listening to one another. Listen to one another, building that skill, listening skill with one another. And I said that listening is a two-way path. I mentioned yesterday the fact that subhanAllah, Allah Azza wa Jalla created us with 2 ears and one mouth. And for the hikmah from Allah Azza wa Jal, that this mouth can be closed. But the ears, they're always open. They have no lock. Unless you put some earbuds, but they have no lock. Meaning you got, and two versus only one. One mouth, two ears. We should be more listening rather than talking. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ mentioned this beautiful hadith in Bukhari, right? In Bukhari when he says, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Whosoever believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment, he should say good or be quiet. And sometimes we need to be quiet, especially, husbands and wives. Sometimes when there is some, arguments and whatnot, sometimes it's better to be quiet, right? Keep quiet. Don't talk back, right? Don't talk back. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us out. طيب, listening and listening skills. I want to share with you, some of the tools to improve your listening skills. But I've got Sheikh Mus'ad with us. Jazakallah khair. And Sheikh Mus'ad is requesting to have a live video chat with me. Why not? Sheikh Mus'ad is my buddy. Always. Ya hala. Ya hala بالشيخ. يا هلا ومرحبا بشيخنا.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله عم الشيخ رياض.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته يا شيخنا. ها وينك؟ ما بشوفك.
مش عارف ربما النت ضعيف.
ممكن النت ضعيف.
لأن أنا برا حاليا في الصالة فقلت أسلم عليك وأسلم على جمهورك ما شاء الله. الله تقبل منك.
والله سبحان الله شيخ، بعد رمضان قل الحمد لله. هو دائما بيصير كده، بعد رمضان بيقلل بيخف شوية وبعدين بيطلع مرات إن شاء الله تعالى. فصلى الله سبحانه وتعالى يبارك فيك. Please follow Sheikh Mus'ad's Beltagi. Mus'ad Beltagi, follow him on his Instagram, on his Facebook, on his YouTube channel. You know that Sheikh that came and one of the best mashayikh here in Canada.
جزاك الله خيرا شيخنا، الله يفتح عليك.
بارك الله فيكم. بارك الله فيكم.
الله يرفع قدرك حبيبي.
آمين. حياك الله. بارك الله فيك شيخنا. وفي أمان الله. وشوي شوي عليك يا شيخنا. رد بالك إن شاء الله. جزاكم الله خير. So my brothers and sisters, let me share with you with regard to listening, how to build that listening skills. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, whenever somebody used to talk to him, he would look at that person. He would face that person, look at that person. And a beautiful thing that you could do when you're listening is listening and interacting with that person, or at least smile. Especially when your wife is talking to your husband, there's somebody who listens like you're listening and you're preparing something, or you're listening and you're interacting. You're listening and interacting. So it's nice when you can couple the listening with some smiles, when you're listening and facing that person, versus listening and maybe going on your phone, right? You cannot be listening and you're chatting. Chatting on the phone, so you're not giving that person full attention. You're not giving that person full attention. So to give that person full attention, face that person. Look at that person, right? And don't interrupt that person. Wait until that person finishes, talking. Give them, because a problem that a lot of people do is, when somebody else is talking to them, sometimes they rehearse what they have to say. Right? They rehearse their answer before, so that they're not focused, they're not totally listening, they listen, but at the same time they're rehearsing what to say. And that's not going to be fair, because sometimes what happens, and this used to happen to me all the time, not all the time, but it used to happen, subhanAllah, it did happen to me several times, where in the masjid, giving a khutbah, right? Given a khutbah, there are some people who come to listen to you, but because they want to argue, or they don't like you, or because they are looking for something bad, again, they're looking for something negative. So you may be saying something like something like black, but they hear it white. Because they're not focused. They want to only listen to what they want to listen. They're only looking for something, to complain and something to criticize you on. Right? So they came to me and they said, "Oh, you said this." But I said, "No, I never said that." I don't know. I never said that. In fact, and I got people right next to me said, no, he did not. Why? Because those people were already programmed. They're programmed because they did not come to listen. They came to argue and they came to criticize. So here, something with your spouse, for instance, you're having a dialogue, some sort of conversation. You listen to them and give them the benefit of the doubt and interact with them. How can you interact? By maybe asking questions about that very particular thing that they're discussing with you on. Ask questions to show them that you're interested, to show them that you are paying attention. And this is one way of interacting, facing them. Using your head, the body language, smile, right? Try to have a conversation. Try, if you are busy, let's say, okay, if you're busy, tell them, I'm really busy. I need to send this email right now because it's really urgent. And then, and give them a time. Like, just give me 5 minutes. Give me 10 minutes, but don't, because your mind, if you're busy, wanted to finish something up and then you put it down. Let's say you put your phone down and they say, okay, here it is. What is it that you want? Then you're half there. You're not fully there. It's not fair. You're not fully there because your mind, it's still, perturbed with that email or with that conversation that you had with work or with whatnot. Finish what you're doing if you're really, really busy, right? Finish what you're doing. Tell the person, tell your wife, tell your husband, can you give me 5 minutes? Can you give me 10 minutes? I just need to put I need to make sure that the oven is I need to make sure that the food that I'm cooking, I don't want it to burn or whatnot. Give them an explanation, give them a justification, right? And tell them, just give me 5 minutes. This is if you're busy and you cannot have that conversation live with them, right? Because if you want to have that, friendly conversation, so both parts have to be present. You have to be focused and you have to give each other the benefit of the doubt. So if you're busy, give them a time where you could go back and then, and talk to them. And we men, what we tend to do when somebody, especially our wives, are talking to us about a problem, we tend to always tell them solutions or give them solutions. She's telling you about a problem that she had at work, for instance, with her boss, or with her colleague, or maybe at school, or whatever. She's telling you about her problem, and we men, we tend to jump into giving them solutions. But maybe she does not want the solution. She just wants to vent. Men, we do that a lot, because this is how don't blame us, sisters. Don't blame your husbands. Allah Azza wa Jalla has made us in that, subhanAllah, that nature that we are made to look for solutions. You are made to look for solutions. We're made to just, if something is broken, how can we fix it? And we will not rest until it's fixed. We are like that. We're men. Ajib. My dryer just been, broken and I couldn't focus because I had to fix it. And then they're saying, well, it's like 10 years old. Why don't you go and, buy a new one? And I said, in this lockdown, what do you mean buy a new one? How can we afford now at this moment to go and buy a new dryer, for instance, right? So my mind was focused on, how can I fix this dryer? This is how men think. So we need, so we as men, we need to condition ourselves as well, especially when our wives are talking to us, that they don't necessarily want us to solve their problem. They don't want us to necessarily solve their problem. Maybe they just want to vent and talk and they want somebody to listen to. And I started doing that. It took me years, but I started doing that. So even in my counseling, it happened to me many times. I'm talking and then some sister, she's complaining at the time when I used to do counseling. Look, she's talking. I said, sister, can I just put you on a speakerphone, right? I'm doing stuff. And she said, yeah. So I put her on the speakerphone and I'm doing stuff as she's talking, but I'm listening as well, right? And then, at the end she says, thank you, Sheikh, Jazakallah khair for helping me. Thank you for helping me. And I said, to myself, I didn't say anything. I didn't help her. I didn't even tell her what she should do or what not. But she said, no, all I did was I listened. And that's all she wanted. She wanted somebody to listen to. And then she got her own solution. So sometimes you need to be your own coach. Even if you're not like a life coach, be a life coach. And a life coach is not someone who solves other people's problems, just so you know, if you've been life coach, in the past. A life coach will never tell you what to do. But a life coach, a good life coach, is someone who only asks you strategic questions to help you solve your own problems. Wow, 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 wow. That's why I was a life coach. But yeah, I'm certified, but I stopped doing that for some time. But the thing is, a good life coach will never solve your problem, will never tell you what to do. But he will or she will ask you strategic questions to help you solve your own problems. So as husbands, or maybe wives, but husbands, you need to be, learn that skill, especially with your wives. Let me ask a brother a question here. What are the brothers? Let me ask the brother who's married. Who's married here from the brothers? I need to ask them a question. Who are married here from the brothers? I want a brother here who's married so I can ask him a question, either on Facebook or Instagram. Any brother who's married? Any brother who's married, I want to ask them a question. You see, I cannot see you. If I could see you, then that's a different story. I feel like I'm talking to myself here, but this is the thing about social media now. There's no brother who's married? Okay, fine. Is there any brother who's not married? Your husband is listening, Sister Khadija. Okay. All right. Sister Khadija's husband, let me ask you a question. If your wife Khadija, she asks you, honey, what should I wear? My black hijab or my pink hijab? What should you say? This is the question to Khadija Muhammad Sheikh. You said your husband is listening. If your wife asks you, should I wear a black hijab or a pink hijab as a husband, what should you say? This is not a rocket science question. This is a pretty straightforward question. Your wife asks you, should I wear my black shoes or my my white shoes? What should you say? Shall I, with this dress, shall I wear this purse or that purse? What should you say? Khadija Muhammad, he says you look beautiful in both. You wear your wish. He's trying to be smart now, huh? He says you look beautiful in both. Yeah, that's a good answer actually. That's a very good answer, That's a good. In fact, we men, the right answer is you ask her that same question. What do you think? Right? She would say, I think I like the white one. I said, whoa, mashallah, because I was thinking I like that too. You're not lying, but she would say, I was thinking this purse. You say, oh, amazing, subhanallah, we think together. You and I are one. We think the same. I was thinking the same too, right? We men, we tend to solve problems. We tend to say, do this. We tend to say, wear that. We tend to say, but sometimes we don't want to do that. And we don't want to say that. So this is, again, another skill, that comes part of the listening skills is not to solve people's problems. Listen to them. Let them vent. Let them share their feelings and whatnot, right? Gain their trust. And then you can ask questions and see how you can, inshallah ta'ala, solve problems that way. Same thing, you could do the same thing with your children, brothers and sisters, not only with your spouses, right? This listening skills, you can do that with your friends, with your loved ones, with your children. If you have kids, listen to them as well, my brothers and sisters. And just so you know, when you are conversing with your spouse here, or with anyone for that matter, right? You don't have to necessarily agree with what they say, right? But you have to respect each other's opinions. You don't necessarily have to agree with, especially when we're having a conversation about a matter, right? About should we do this or should we do that, or talking about a political problem, talking about an issue or whatnot. She has an opinion and you have yours. We need to learn to, respect each other's opinions, but we don't have to necessarily agree with each other. If we disagree, we have to learn how to, subhanAllah, with the Arabs they say, we have agreed to disagree. We have agreed to disagree. This is an expression the Arabs, they always say, right? But, no, it's fine that you disagree with her. It's fine that you disagree with him, right? As long as you respect each other's opinions, and at the end you come up with some sort of, a mutual decision, inshallah ta'ala. My brothers and sisters, one of the major problems that lead to divorce is, in fact, the lack of listening skills. Wallahi, I told you I'm a marriage officer, and I do this a lot. One of the main reasons of divorce, really, between husbands and wives, is lack of listening to one another. Another thing, sisters and brothers, that will water the love, having fun with each other, having fun. Break that routine. When was the last time you and your husband, maybe you went on a jog, on a walk? What's wrong with that? Prophet Muhammad used to do that the same. He used to do that with Aisha, with his wives. He used to race with her. Sometimes, he would race. Yeah, Aisha, she narrated the story. She said, when I was young and we were raced, she says she won the race. So they had a race, and then she won the race. And then she said, and then he was feeding me meat for like few weeks, and then she gained some weight, and then they ran again, they raced, and then she said, then the Prophet, he won the race. So the first time she won the race, but then he was feeding her, and she started eating and whatnot, and after some time they raced again, and then the Prophet won the race. So what's wrong about having halal fun with your spouse? So we're talking about ways to improve and ways to water that love. Water the love. I talked about the listening skills. And then I talked about looking at one another with that rahmah, with the mercy. I talked about the loyalty. And here I'm talking about at-tarfih al-a'ili. In Arabic we call it at-tarfih al-a'ili. What is at-tarfih al-a'ili? Family fun. Prophet Muhammad taking a bath with Aisha from the same, subhanallah, bucket. If there's like some sort of a container, both of them were taking bath from the same ajib, and then she threw some water at him, and then he splashed some water at her. It was like splashing water with each other. He's splashing water, she's splashing water. It's okay. She's your wife, he's your husband. What's wrong about you jogging together or you playing together? You may say, we're too old for that, Sheikh. We're too old for that. We're too old for that. What does that mean, you're too old? And you want to go and start, buy your grave and go and start visiting your grave in your graveyard? Khalas, get ready for death and get ready to meet Allah Azza wa Jal. No more fun with your loved one. Khalas, what does that mean? We're old. What do you mean with old? Never too old. Exactly. You can always have fun with your husband, have fun with your wife. Sheikh, he cannot walk, he cannot run no more, with his big belly. Sheikh, she can't run no more, like everything is south now, she cannot walk, she cannot run. Make her run, man. You don't have to run, you can walk. You can walk. Why not? You have to run, can jog together. That's why I said, maybe you're not looking at her or at him with the eye of the bee, you are looking with the eye of the fly. Having fun. On a snowy day, some snow. What's wrong with that? Playing with snow with each other, throwing snow at one another. Oh no, so we're not kids. We don't do that no more. We don't do that no more. What do you mean we don't do that no more? Playing with snow with each other, having fun and whatnot. I don't care. You get my point. My point is, break that routine and have fun with your loved one. Have fun with your loved one. Go biking. Go bike with your loved one. No, she does not know how to bike. Yahi, who did you marry, by the way? Who did you marry? I said go jog with her. No, she cannot jog. Go bike with her. No, she cannot bike. Go run with her. No, she cannot run. Go. Who did you marry, man? Who did you marry? Every time I say something to this guy, he says she cannot. She cannot. I'm just I'm playing with myself, right? She can't. She can't. She can't. She can't. Who did you marry? Jinn, or I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, think of some ways. Think of some ways to have fun with your loved one. That's what I'm trying to say here. All right. Think of some ways. Something called الترفيه. Why can't you laugh? Huh? Why is it haram to laugh? You tell me please, because in some houses we don't laugh. Okay, Mu'nisa. I want to talk to Mu'nisa. Mu'nisa. Say yes. Is Mu'nisa there? Or Nora Al-Hantali? Nora Al-Hantali or Mu'nisa? I want to ask a question. Because I know Mu'nisa, she mashallah, she's looking. I'm going to inshallah ta'ala help her find a righteous husband, inshallah. But I want to ask her, all right, Mu'nisa, would you want to marry a guy? He's Hafid al-Quran, mashallah. Is Hafid al-Quran, a very great guy, but that's all he does. When he comes home, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and you repeat wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, and then he says, he only talks Quran and Hadith. He says, قال الله تعالى وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا. He's telling you, Allah says, eat and drink. Yani he's telling you he's hungry, and then you tell him, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, 1/3 for the air, and 1/3 for this, and 1/3 for that, and then he eats, and then after he finishes, he says يعني he was tired, he wants to go to sleep, but he doesn't speak because he only speaks قال الله قال رسول الله. He says الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له. يعني this man ما شاء الله حافظ القرآن عجيب. But he when you tell him no, if you laugh, النار جهنم. There's no Jannah, there's no laughing, there's no humor, there is no كيا حال هي كيا حال هي تيكي كيا ما فيش. There's no such a thing. There's no, it's only would you want to marry this guy, Sister Mu'nisa? Do you want to marry this guy? You want to marry this guy? There is no. I mean, mashallah, is Hafid Quran and everything, but you want to marry some guy like that? Exactly. All right. Okay, you see that? So some people think, they don't laugh. Their kids, they grow up with a complex. The kids, they grow up, subhanAllah, it's like everything is haram. عيب حرام عيب حرام عيب sit down, don't يا عمي لا إله إلا الله. It's okay to have some fun, it's okay to laugh, it's okay to have I was just earlier saying Jannah man, like that the picture I posted on my YouTube, on my social media, about the Superman in the Bedouin, the Superman in the desert, a Superman in the desert. And then some people saying, Sheikh, Superman is haram. I said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I said, Superman in the desert, a Bedouin Superman. And then some people were writing, Sheikh, Superman is haram. I said, man, I will never let you marry my daughter, man. I will never let you marry my daughter. What do you mean Superman is haram? Did I say Superman is haram? I'm gonna fly like Superman? You think, do I look like Superman? Maybe Jannah man, but not Superman, man. But anyways, I'm just telling you, there's some people who they don't know how to يعني كده halal fun, halal in Islam, halal fun. I'm talking about halal fun. So brothers and sisters, have that with your spouse. Halal fun. The smile is sihr, halal magic, halal magic. Magic, black magic, haram, but halal magic, the smile. The don't make your home like a graveyard. Sometimes you go even to weddings, some Muslim weddings. You don't know whether it's a Muslim wedding or what is it's a Muslim funeral. There's no fun. Our weddings, sometimes the extreme, those that are so much fitna, or like, you know, I went to do this, they waited for me until I came out. As soon as I came out, I could hear the, you know, all these Bollywood thing happening, right? Either that top, or there's some that are very the bottom, like Mavish. They bring in a guy, you know, that talks about, الطلاق مرتان. Allahu Akbar. This is in a wedding. They brought a guy, a sheikh, and then the sheikh gives a lecture, and the lecturer says, الطلاق مرتان. He's talking about talaq. Oh man, what is, I mean, come on. This is a wedding, you know, and you're telling them about talaq? And يعني, can't we have something in between? You know, so it's okay to have, you know, don't make your home a graveyard. Don't make your home like a graveyard. Have some fun, it's okay. Right? Make it, you know, كده. I said sometimes I ignore comments, but that one was funny. Someone played the nasheed Farsh al-Turab at the wedding. Maybe you know why they played Farsh al-Turab? Because they didn't know what it meant. They did not know what it meant. They played this song about death, you know, in a wedding. Maybe they just liked the lyrics, but they did not maybe understand what it meant. But anyways, the point is, my brothers and sisters, love with one another. Laugh at home with one another. I have another thing, inshallah ta'ala, before something also to water the love. Something to water the love. When you marry, you know, when you marry your wife, your husband, it is the responsibility of the husband. It is the responsibility of the husband to teach his wife in Islam. Yani to teach her deen, to teach her. But subhanAllah, there are some wives who can also teach their husbands. I'll give you some examples. I'll give you an example. Aisha radiallahu anha wardaha. Aisha, she narrated more than 2,000 hadith. She was alima. Aisha was alima. She was really alima. She was a scholar. 2,210 hadith that she narrated. Alima. There are many women who are known to be scholars, women scholars. Sa'd ibn al-Musayyib. Sa'd ibn al-Musayyib was one of the pious predecessors, very well known, from the Tabi'in. Alim, right? His daughter got married to one of his students. The next day after the wedding, he got up to go to her father's, dars lecture. She says, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to your father's lecture. I have to attend his lecture." "What is the lecture about today?" He says, "It's about fiqh." She says, "Come, sit down. I'll teach you fiqh." The second day, he got up. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to your father's lecture." "What is the lecture about today?" He says, "It's about hadith." She says, "Sit down. I'll teach you hadith." The third day, he got up to go to her. "Where are you going?" "The father's lecture." "What is he going to talk about today?" "He's going to talk about Quran." She says, "Sit down. I'll teach you about Quran." She says, he says, "I don't know who's more alim now, you or your father, who's more knowledgeable." Every time he wants to go out, "No, come, I'll teach you what my father will teach you. Come and sit down." And she taught him. She alima, they are. But in Islam, as the responsibility of the husband to teach his wife. But if the wife, she's more knowledgeable in Islam, she should teach her husband. Right? The Imam Malik, his daughter, she was also alima. And Imam Malik, subhanAllah, when he's giving a lecture, his daughter, she's always listening from behind. And then if Imam Malik was to, say something, sometimes he would make a mistake, she would knock on the door. She would knock at the door. "Oh, Dad, you made a mistake." And then he would go back and then he would rectify it. And then he would just keep talking. And then if he makes a mistakes, from the back, she would knock at the door. You made a mistake. Alima, Sakina bint al-Hussein. Sakina bint al-Hussein, she was also Alima. She's another scholar woman. Zainab. Who's Zainab? She is Zainab. She was Tabibat Banu Umayyah, the doctor of Banu Umayyah. She was a doctor from Banu Umayyah at the time. Her name is Zainab. She was Karima al-Barzawiyya. Imam Bukhari, Bukhari. One of his teachers, Shaykha, a lady, a woman. Shaykha, a woman. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi, another, he had 3 women scholars who taught him. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi, Imam al-Dhahabi, these are all from the predecessors. Imam al-Dhahabi, Imam al-Mundiri, all these are imams, well-known imams. But if you go back and look into these imams, who really taught them? Women scholars. So if Allah Azza wa Jal blesses you with a woman scholar, mashallah. But you as a husband, you have that responsibility to teach your wife about her deen, right? And my brothers and sisters, with regard to, this is something really important. What is important? If sometimes, because as a marriage officer, we have these issues. Sometimes a husband would, mashallah, become religiously committed, and then his wife, she's not wearing hijab. Allah Azza wa Jal shows him the light, he guides him, right? He wasn't guided that well, but Allah Azza wa Jal guides him, and then he comes and says, oh, my wife is not wearing hijab, and I'm not happy, and I should divorce her, if the imams were to issue divorce, then the majority of the Muslims will be divorced. But we're not here to start issuing divorce. Oh, she's not wearing hijab, divorce her. She's not praying, divorce her. She's not reading Quran, divorce her. La ya ammi. That's not how it works. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown you the light. Before, how were you? You were astray too. Allah guided you. Make dua for Allah to guide her as well. Same thing for your sister. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides you. Allahumma lak alhamd. Maybe your husband is still maybe not praying. Maybe your husband, because they say, oh, Sheikh, if my husband is not praying, he's kafir. And I cannot be married to a kafir. So what should we do? Like I said, if the ulama, if the shuyukh start issuing divorce, the majority of the Muslim households will be divorced. Allah Azza wa Jal has guided you. Make dua for your husband to be guided. And one day, inshallah ta'ala, Allah will guide him as well. So this is something to put in your mind, inshallah ta'ala, as part of watering the love. Another thing I need to make sure that my brothers and sisters, you understand is something, to water the love is learn how to control your emotions and your feelings. One day, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came out from home. He came out at night. And who's narrating this? Maymuna, his wife, Maymuna. He came out at home, he came out from home at night. When he came out, he came back in and the door was locked. So he knocked at the door. She did not want to open the door for him. Imagine, you go out, you come back in, and your wife does not want to open the door for you. No, I'm not opening the door for you. So what am I going to sleep in the car? Go back to where you came from. Prophet Muhammad, he went back. So because of her ghariza, subhanallah, she thought that he went to his other wife. So she told him, no, I'm not opening the door. He says, Ya Maymuna, wallahi, where did you go? He says, ما فعلت ولكن ذهبت لأتبول. I just went to take care of the nature call. He went to urinate. She thought when he went out, he went to visit his other wife. She locked the door. But that's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He knew how to manage his emotions, his anger. If you come home and then you find your wife maybe looking at your phone and checking it out, or browsing your phone, or smelling you, or browsing your jacket, or looking down and looking out and whatnot, and searching for what Allah alam, this is another problem. Yeah, this is another problem, the problem of trust. Right? But just look what happened when the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, she locked him out just because she thought he went to visit his other wife, and how he handled it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anger. There are a lot of people who have this anger problem, anger management. They don't know how to, I don't say suppress your anger. That's wrong, suppressing your anger, but how to manage your anger. Something to water the love, inshaAllah ta'ala. When a man gets angry, what does he do? And when a woman gets angry, what does she do? Tell me, brothers and sisters. When a man gets angry, a husband, when he gets angry, what does he do? And when a woman gets angry, what does she do? Tell me. I know, I can tell you, but I want to hear it from you. When a man gets angry, maybe sometimes he may want to hit, he curses, he maybe swears, astaghfirullah, maybe he goes smoke or do something. Well, when men get angry, what do they do? And when women get angry, what do they do? We're talking about watering the love. They yell, break things. Women go quiet. Okay. Silent treatment for the wife. Now, these are all possibilities, when sometimes he would go out. That's good. Go out. Play sports. You get angry. Go play sports. Go hit the bag. Right? But when a woman gets angry, she would cry. A lot of them would cry. Some of them would yell as well and shout. Yes, there are a lot of women who have a anger management problem as well. Wives who have anger management problem. This sister, she told me one time I was teaching, this anger management course. And she says, I would put this laxative in the food. I would put laxative in his food and give it to him. I said, man, your sister, you're going to kill him. One sister says, I'd take his credit cards and cut them and destroy them. But women, they tend to cry when they're angry. They tend to go silent and go to cry, right? Versus men who get to use force oftentimes. So we need to learn how to manage our emotions, inshaAllah ta'ala. Sit down like Prophet Muhammad said. If you're angry, don't try to go out and do something else and come back and then try to sort out that problem, inshaAllah ta'ala. But don't, in the midst of your anger, it is not the best time to sort out that problem or solve it out, because you're just gonna get fueled and shaitan is there and the ghadab and whatnot, right? Yes, go make that, when the Prophet Muhammad says, Ajib, look at the stages. Look at the stages. But there's some people who need to go through therapies. There's special therapies, right, for anger management problem, But the Prophet Muhammad, when he says, if you're angry and then you are standing, sit down. If you're sitting, and you're still angry, then lay down. If you're still angry, then make wudu and pray 2 rak'ah. And then the Prophet says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will extinguish that fire which is inside of you, because that anger comes from the shaitan. Right? Comes from shaitan. So this is something that we need to learn, inshallah ta'ala, on about managing our emotions and our feelings. And last but not least, brothers and sisters, hitting the spouse. I want to finish with this, inshallah ta'ala. Hitting the spouse. Domestic violence. Right? Domestic violence. Shuraih, he said this beautiful poem. One of the pious predecessors a long time ago, he said this beautiful poem. In that poem, he said, رأيت رجالا يضربون نساءهم فشلت يميني حين أضرب زينبا وزينب شمس والنساء كواكب الله 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 إذا طلعت لم تبق منهن كوكبا. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful words. He said, رأيت رجالا يضربون نساءهم فشلت يميني حين أضرب زينبا وزينب شمس والنساء كواكب إذا طلعت لم تبق منهن كوكبا. He said, I saw men hitting their spouses. I saw men hitting their spouses. فشلت يميني حين أضرب زينب. He says, I wish from my hand to become paralyzed if it was to hit my Zainab, يعني his wife, my Zainab. He says, I saw men hitting their wives. May my hand become paralyzed if it was to hit my Zainab. He says, وَزَيْنَبُ شَمْسٌ. My Zainab, he says, my Zainab, she is Shams, she is the sun. وَالنِّسَاءُ كَوَاكِبُ, and other women are stars. He says, my wife, she is the sun, and other women are stars. إِذَا طَلَعَتْ لَمْ تَبْقَى مِنْهُنَّ كَوْكَبُ. And when the sun rises, all the stars will disappear. Allahu Akbar. What a beautiful, beautiful thing to say. Do you understand what he said? He says, my wife, she is like the sun, and other women are the stars. If the sun rises, all the stars will disappear. I saw women beating their wives. I saw men beating their wives. I saw men beating their wives. May my hand become paralyzed if it was to hit Zainab. My Zainab, she is the sun, and other women are the stars. When the sun rises, all the stars will sort of disappear. How should you treat your spouse? You tell me, oh, it's mentioned in the Quran. But you misunderstood the Quran. Then if it's mentioned in the Quran, you misunderstood the Quran. Prophet Muhammad Prophet Muhammad when he says, don't you people are embarrassed? Don't you? He's talking to men, embarrassed. He hit his wife as he beats his slave, and at night he goes to be intimate with her. He says, aren't you? He's talking to men. Some men came, women came to complain about the fact that their husbands are beating them. And he says, those are not the best amongst you. These men, those are not the best amongst you. The best amongst the men are those who are kind to their wives. So his Prophet Muhammad talking about, you say, when you say it's mentioned in the Quran, then you misunderstood the Quran. You misunderstood the steps of the Quran. And what Allah Azza wa Jalla talks about, فَضْرِبُوهُنْ. Before فَضْرِبُوهُنْ, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَعِظُوهُنْ. He says, عِظُوهُنْ, give them ma''idah. What is عِظُوهُنْ? عِظُوهُنْ is give them admonition. First, give them admonition. If you really, they have done something that is wrong, and this could be both ways. If they have done something that is wrong, give them admonition. فَعِظُوهُنَّ عِظُوهُنَّ. Give them maw'idah. Right? If it's something goes to the extreme, then maybe get, then Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions the other step, the other stage, where فَهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. Don't share the same bed with them. And for a woman, if you were to do that for her, is the worst punishment you can give her. Not to share her bed with her. You don't even have to hit her. Not to share her bed with her. Bring in a family member from your family and another member from her family to try to mediate between you two. There's so many stages. Comes in, the hitting part. The hitting part, what do you mean by the hitting part? Hitting the face, hitting the punch, kicking, what is it? Like Ibn Abbas said, if you have a handkerchief, just like it's not hitting, it's like, don't do this, please. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. With the handkerchief, or with the, don't do, no, something like that, but not hitting. So domestic violence amongst Muslims and non-Muslims. Among non-Muslims, it's even worse. But even among Muslims, in a lot of, subhanAllah, cultures, and traditions, people they bring in their cultures, from back home into the West, and then la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. One woman, she was calling me, he gave her a blue eye. She was, a long time ago, I was, counseling, so she called me, he says, my husband punched me on the face, he gave me a blue eye. She could have easily called 911, he will be in jail. Haram, haram, haram. in Islam. Women are filled with, subhanAllah, they're full of energy. Filled with emotions. Not energy, emotions. I meant to say emotions. عاطفة. A lot of emotions. Allah Azza wa Jal has given you that force and you want to use it on them. Why don't you go and use it on somebody else? Use it on yourself. Use it, go use it outside. Force does not solve no problems. Ya akhi, the worst scenario is, if you're not happy with her, let her go home. The worst scenario, the worst case scenario, you're not happy. عاشروهن بمعروف أو صرحوهن بإحسان. Live with them with ma'ruf, with goodness, or live with equitable terms, with ihsan. This is the worst case scenario. But using your hands, using your being physical with your spouse, something that Allah does not approve, nor Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'll tell you something, and we'll end with this. I will end with this, brothers and sisters, especially the brothers. Okay, brothers who are listening, if you're listening here, listen up. Whatever goes around comes around. What? Whatever goes around comes around. كما تدين تدان. افعل ما شئت. If you are using force against your spouse, maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will afflict your daughter, your sister, somebody from your loved one who is female, with someone who will use force against them. Do you want somebody? Do you want somebody to beat up your daughter, her husband to beat her up? Because you are beating up or you're hitting somebody's daughter. You're hitting somebody's daughter. You're beating up somebody's daughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will afflict you with someone, who will beat up your own daughter. كما تدين تدان. I'm not gonna talk about, oh yeah, Sheikh, but there are women who beat up their husbands. Yeah, but that's not the norm. Although there are cases, and I agree with you, there are cases that women are beating, their husbands up. But that's not the norm. Domestic violence, we see more men, hitting their wives. And this is a huge case, the big thing happening, all over the world. Look into these statistics and see, in a minute, or a second, how many women get beaten, in the whole world, in the US, just in the US. Every second, every minute, how many women goes to domestic, violence and abuse. Alhamdulillah, we have Islam, we have the deen, we have قال الله وقال Rasulullah, we have our religion that puts in, alhamdulillah, all these guidelines for us, for you and I, to live in peace and harmony. Right? If you are really, really not happy at the very end, and you can get along, and you tried for years, it's not, okay, you don't want to keep on going, then move on. Both of you, move on. Move on. www.moveon.com. Right? But never use force. As I mentioned, كما تدين تدان. Whatever goes around comes around. If it's her home, then you leave your home, her home, whatever. I don't want that to happen. It's both of you's home. But I didn't say just let her go. It's her home, then you go. Khalas, you leave. But at the end, brothers and sisters, what I mean is, this is, water in the love. This is, subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jal had put that bond from above the heavens. Mithaq ghalid. It's a bond between a husband and wife. Don't break it. Don't break the bond. Allah has made this bond, this mithaq, this relationship from above the heavens. So try to keep that bond together, insha'Allah ta'ala. Yes, every household will have to go through issues, as even Prophet Muhammad had to go through issues with his wives. I gave you so many examples. He just went out and his wife, she locked him out. He just went out to the washroom, she locked him out. An angry man would go to you, خلاص طلاق انت طالق. You did that to the Prophet Muhammad. You want Allah to curse you? You want Allah to curse you? No. The Prophet, he just justified, I just went to the washroom. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless you, sisters and brothers, and fill your home with serenity and prosperity, inshaAllah ta'ala. Jazakum Allah khair. This is Riad Ouarzazi, and tomorrow, inshaAllah ta'ala, we will go back into another session, bi'idhnillah, of homemade happiness, talking about the youth and talking about their problems, and the youth and their problems, and trying to help them out and share with them some advice, bi'idhnillah. So I hope to see you tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, sister, brother Kiko, Saadiya Khan, Mariana, all of you. Jazakum Allah khair for joining. May Allah bless you. I hope to see you tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum, sister Hanifa Catherine. Jazakallah khair. Barakallah fikum. Thank you, Lola Rob. Thank you, Abu Umar. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much for joining. May Allah bless you. We'll see you tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. All right? Assalamu alaikum.